Well, hi everyone. It's Bruce Firestone here doing another one of these video capture videos. I hope you enjoy it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a project using Microsoft project, so it's MPP files. And this is a really old piece of software, so I apologize if it backfires a couple of times, but bear with me. Critical path scheduling is really important. I don't care whether you're doing a simple renovation or you're doing a complicated build. You should have some kind of critical path software so you can schedule things and you can understand just how long it takes to do things. One of the things about the construction industry, and I'm sure everybody who's watching this video knows, is they have a few major problems. One is time delay. They say it'll take 4 months to do the project and it takes 5 or 6. Obviously, cost overruns, you have issues with change orders, and then, of course, deficiencies. So one of the things that you should do with your contractor, or if you are a contractor or you're a renovator or you're a landlord and you're a property investor, you should have one of these. So let's see if we can start a project. So what is the task? We'll say, okay, I don't know, build a house. Okay, and so we're starting. Okay, so we'll call this start. To build a house. And we'll say that is going to take you 1 day. So that's task number 1. Over here you can see that. It's your start. So whatever your start day was, and today's May 13th, so we're going to start on May, I guess that's the 15th or something, or the 14th, whatever. So we're going to start on Monday. So what are the first things you have to do? Okay, so we're going to buy a lot. And you're going to look around and find a lot, and that could take, forever, but we'll say it takes you, I don't know, 21 days to buy a lot. Okay, so you bought a lot, and then you have to, let's see, I'm just making it up as I go along, so I apologize. So you can see start and finishes here, and there's a few other things I need here. Predecessors at the top. So you bought the lot, and now you have to, select, select your design, and that takes forever. I know people say, oh, I'll just pick a design off the internet, take a couple days. Trust me, by the time you picked it and you personalized it, and you made the changes to it, and remember, it's much easier to change something on a piece of paper than it is to start building and say, oh, gee, the door swings the wrong way, or I actually wanted another bedroom and I don't have it. So selecting your design, I got to put it in, you're going to hate me. I'm going to say it's going to take you 180 days to do it, 6 months, all right? And then you're going to choose a builder. All right, and that's a really important decision. I get asked all the time to make recommendations on builders. That is problematic. I'm a realtor and a real estate coach, and pretty much every home builder has his or her their flaws, and they have some pluses and minuses. So this is a really important thing. So take your time, and we're going to spend another, I don't know, I'm going to make it 30 days. Oh my gosh. Now, you'll notice all these blue things that are showing up on the right-hand side of my screen, okay? So those are the task durations. And what does this column here mean? It says predecessors, all right? So obviously, when you start, there is no predecessor. I'm assuming you've made the decision to buy a lot and build a house. Obviously, you can't buy your lot until you've made up your mind. So your predecessor here is 1. So watch the right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to hit the Enter key. And you notice how that has moved the buy the lot thing past the start date. Because until you've made up your mind to do it, you're not going to buy a lot. Select your design. You're not going to select your design in all likelihood. You may have some ideas until you've actually bought a lot, because the lot could influence the ultimate design. It almost certainly will. So we're going to put in as a predecessor number 2. Now watch what happens when I hit the Enter key on the right-hand side. Whoa, that's pushed a long way away. So let's just see what that means. If I just move over here, you'll notice now that select your design doesn't happen now until sometime in June, around June, I don't know, 11th or something like that. Choose a builder. Now, could you choose a builder before you select your design? Yes. Could you choose your builder before you actually bought a lot? Yeah, possibly. So I'm going to put in here as your predecessors, though, I'm going to put in 1 and 2. All right, so your predecessors, you're not going to choose your builder until A, you've obviously decided to go ahead with this, and B, you've bought a lot, because maybe the lot that you buy, there's a builder in the area that you particularly want to use. So I'm going to do that. All right. So you've chosen your builder. All right. That's good news. So what is next? Okay. Of course, your builder is going to tell you, gee, I can build this house for you in 5 months. And you ask him or her, you ask them for a schedule, and they say, well, just trust me. Well, that's not good enough. Okay, so you really want to have a schedule, and the schedule might look something like what we're going to create here. Now, just so you know, critical path scheduling, critical path methodology was originally created in World War II during the Manhattan Project. So there were, I think, 300,000 people working on the Manhattan Project, which was the project to invent or perfect the atomic bomb. And there were, I think several thousand, maybe many thousands of contractors. Imagine having to control a process like that and try and get it done before your enemies finish their project. It was pretty important. So critical path methodology goes back to the 1940s, and you could get pieces of software like Microsoft Project, and I'll talk about some others later. So you've chosen your builder, and your builder says, yeah, I'll give you a schedule. No, I want the details. All right, so let's just do some, so you need to do some excavation work, and we'll put in, I don't know, 10 days for that. And obviously that won't begin. Oh, I should put insert a new task above. Get a building permit. All right, that's pretty important, right? Get a building permit. All right, so what is the building permit? Well, in some cities, you can get them in especially small towns, like 3 or 4 days. In some of the bigger cities, it can take weeks or even months. So I'm going to put in, just to be mean, I'm going to put in 60 days to get your building permit. And obviously, you can't do that until you have done your design. So let's put in, as your predecessors, 3 and 4. You've selected your contractor, and you've also, of course, selected your design. All right. So, and I'm going to put another task in here, okay, which instead of get a building permit, at some point, maybe it should be above this guy. So I'll insert a task here. Secure your financing. All right, so you got to have the money to do this project. It can be pretty expensive. So you go to your bank or you go to a construction lender, and typically in these kind of projects you get a construction loan, which can be quite expensive. But once it's finished and the process has been de-risked, you can go to one of the major banks and usually replace it with something quite inexpensive, especially if it's a home. So let's say secure financing. We'll put in, I don't know, 20 days. All right. And secure financing will come after you have chosen your lot and also your design. Okay, so those are your predecessors there. And I wonder if I can just delete that. Yeah, delete that task. I don't need an empty task there. So, okay, so you've got your financing. And here we have to go back in here. You don't want to obviously go forward to get a building permit until you've got your financing. So you've got to, yeah, I've got that in there. So you've got your predecessors. So your predecessors on building permit is 3, which is selecting the design, securing the financing, and I am going to put 4 in there too, getting your contractor, right? What the heck do you need a building permit for if you don't have your contractor? All right, so excavation takes a certain amount of time, and you're not going to do that until, well, you could do that before you get your building permit. I'm not sure if you would, but let's just, for the heck of it, say you're willing to do the excavation before you actually get your building permit, because you probably can do that in most jurisdictions, so speed up the process a little bit. But you've got to have your financing, so don't start work until you've got some financing in place. All right, so now you've done excavation, maybe you have to do some footings. You have to do footings and foundation work. And that usually takes about 10 days as well. And you won't do that, obviously, until you have excavated. So 7 is your predecessor there. Okay, so footings and foundations. After that, you're going to put, that might actually be, yeah, 10 days is probably enough. All right, footings and foundation are done. Okay, then you're going to do the framing of the house. All right. And that doesn't take very long. We'll say they could do it in 8 days. All right. And they'll do that obviously after number 8. Makes sense, right? And then you got to put your roof on. You want to, well, as soon as you have your framing done, you want to definitely get your roof on there so that you protect your investment, such as it is to this point. And the roofing could be a fairly big roof, so let's put in 7 days, and you've done it as soon as you framed it. That has to happen, right? So now you've got this. Then you've got to do, close in the building. So that's, you know, uh, you know, doors and windows, right? Windows. That's pretty important, right? I guess I should open this up so you can actually see that. Sorry about this, you guys. All right, predecessors. Okay, we don't have to deal with resources. All right, so as soon as you, that's Windows and days, I don't know, we'll put in another 7 days for that. And you can do that, though. You don't have to have the roof on there. You can do that as soon as you framed it. You can do that. So that's number 9 is your predecessor there, I think. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so now you got the building closed in. What are you going to do inside? You're going to do electrical. Electrical, did I spell it right? Electrical, yeah, I think so. Obviously, you're going to do some plumbing. You know, there'll be some other stuff that you have to do, but we're just making it simple. So we're going to give them, I don't know, 2 weeks, 10 working days to do that, and it's done. Can you do it before you close in the building? No, probably not. So let's put that in there. So you do some electrical and plumbing work, and you've got to do some insulation, right? And we'll put that in there. That'll be 4 days of insulation work. Nah, these days it's more expensive because you're doing more insulation. So insulation, we'll do that after we've closed in. We've done our electrical, yeah, so probably after 12 we'll do our insulation. And then you got to put this in building inspections, right? There'd be a whole bunch of them, but you certainly will have to have an electrical inspection, right? Your plumbing inspection as well. And, even though it doesn't take that long to do these inspections, your city building inspector will come in and do that for you. You still have to schedule with him or her, and that can take a while because they're busy. So we'll put in a week for that. You're going to hate me for that too. So you'll do that before you insulate, right? So I probably should put that in as the predecessors is 12, all right? But it does take time. So now you've got that. You're going to do drywall, tape, and sanding. Sanding. My typing is horrible. That takes a while, so because it's got to dry, right? So I don't know, put in 10 days for that. It's probably too long. Gosh, they could do it faster than that. I'll put another 7 days in there, and that happens after the building inspection, right? You don't want to button up your building and then the building inspector comes in and he can't inspect your electrical because it's behind a bunch of drywall, right? So you have to have your inspections done, so you've done that. And now you're starting to get a little closer, so you're going to have your kitchen and bathrooms, installed, made workable. That's probably going to take you, 8 days. I don't know, just making it up as I go. Your predecessor is 15. Probably that's okay. So you get your kitchens and bathrooms in there. Then you're going to do some painting, and that's probably quick. These guys are amazing. They can do it in a house in 4 days, some of them. So they'll do that after the installation. I probably should have put in flooring too, right, guys? So that's after 16. I have to insert it probably even before that. So I would probably put a new task in here. I would flooring, that might be carpet, it might be hardwood, whatever it is, that should go in after a whole lot of the work is done. The heavy stuff is done so you don't wreck your floors. Certainly if it's carpeting, maybe flooring would come after this. Yeah, that's probably likely, right? But before you install your kitchens and your bathrooms, because you want to have your flooring done so that, if you ever remodel your kitchen, you don't have half the floor not done. So let's move this. Okay, I'll just go Control X. Oops, I don't know if that worked. And Control V. Haha, I think it did. So we'll do the flooring after we. I'm not even sure if that's right, but we'll for now that'll have to do. Okay, so because some of it might be a little bit more complicated. But flooring, we're going to put flooring in. We'll put in 7 days to get that done, and your predecessor is probably. I'm going to go back to the building inspections, right? Then the kitchens and bathrooms. painting, you know, making it look real pretty. You're going to do some landscaping, right? And that might take, you know, 5 days to do. And you could do your landscaping. Where is this? Excavation, footings, foundation. I probably should put another task in here. Backfill, because you got to, you know, fill in around this thing. Backfill, which usually takes a couple of days. And backfill is done after footings and foundations are in, so that's good. And your landscaping could probably take place once the backfill is done, right? So I'm going to put a predecessor in here, number 9. So now you're getting pretty close to delivery, so we're going to call I guess I should put a hyphen in there, pre-delivery inspection. That's you and your builder going through it, making sure, you know, the things that you wanted to get done are done. You know, that might be a 2-day thing. So you're going to do that probably after 19 is done and 20 is done, right? So there you go. Those are your predecessors. So you've looked at it, and then you're going to have completion. So you're going to go to your lawyer. You know, maybe that it takes, you know, 3 days. Go to your lawyer and you sign all kinds of documents. You sign some mortgage documents if you need a mortgage. And you pay whatever amount you have to pay to the builder for having done the work for you, and you can do that after you've done your pre-delivery inspection. And then you've got your move-in. Hallelujah, we're done, and that takes you 2 days, and you do that after you've got the keys to the place, so after number 22. Okay, so now let's see when you're actually done. Okay, so you can see the date here. So you are done. I never know how these dates work, but it looks like you are done. So today is May of 2017. If you follow this process, you are not done until the 10th of July next year in 2018, right? So if we just go over here to this little baby, you can see all of this stuff, right? I'm just going to keep going and going and going. It's every week, right? So you can see all of these tasks are here. So remember, it took you forever to what was the 6 months select your design. So this is going. So that's 6 months. Okay. Now we're seeing some other tasks that are showing up on the right hand side, and we're getting some really cool stuff happening. You can see what has to happen, and you can actually, a lot of people will actually print out the stuff on the right hand side as well as on the left hand side of your screen, and they will put it up on their wall and they will follow it that way. I mean, that's an old-fashioned way of doing things, and there you are, July of next year. Now, people say, well, this is ridiculous, okay? It makes no sense. I can pick out so we're going to just test it, okay? So watch the left-hand side and the right-hand side of your screen. I can select my design. I'm amazing. I can do it instead of 6 months. I'm going to do it in 30 days. So I'm going to hit the Enter key here. Okay, whoa. Now, look what has happened. I have to back up. So now, I am going to be finished way sooner. Okay, let's just keep going backwards. Time is going backwards. Back to the future, right? Oh, where's Michael J. Fox? Okay, so now we're going to be finished just before Christmas of this year. That's great. Except that this is the problem that happens with all of this stuff. Okay, people tell you things, you know, and then you and your spouse or your partner, you sit down, and if you have kids and the kids are involved, and your grandmother's involved, and your brother's involved, and your uncle, and everybody has a say in it. So this is not realistic. So I tell the people who I coach and my clients, don't do that. I'm going to go back to 180 days. Watch what happens when I hit enter. Goodbye, right? So there you go. So this is a typical critical path study. Now, if I remember, I might mess this up, and if I do, I apologize, but I should be able to view this thing as a, yes, I think I have done it right. So now what I'm looking for is the critical path. In other words, what tasks are critical? In other words, what tasks do I need to make sure I'm on top of so that there's no delay in the overall project? Notice here that the red ones are considered critical and the blue ones are not. So notice that selecting your design is obviously on the critical path, but choosing a builder is not. So you have slack time in choose a builder, but you have no slack time in selecting your design. So if you've committed to working with an architect or an architectural technologist or a designer to perfect your design in 6 months, do it, right? 1 day longer in selecting your design means your project is delayed. However, if instead of taking the time that we've allotted here, you can watch my cursor, I hope it's showing up as a little yellow dot. Instead of, if you took a little bit longer to select your contractor, it's not going to slow up your project, right? So let's just keep going and see what else is critical and what isn't critical. So you've got lots and lots of time to select your contractor in this model, right? So yeah, let's keep going. Remember, we have to go 6 months to get that design perfected. And remember, it's way, way, way cheaper to make a change on a plan than once you have started building. Please, the change orders that you sign should be minimal, 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 because change orders are what kill projects. They drive your costs way up, right? And the time and delay is atrocious. All right. So let's see what else is critical and non-critical. So the blue is non-critical. So getting a building permit apparently in this model is not a critical task. If there's a few days delay in that, it's not going to slow up your project. But your excavation, footing, foundation, you know, all this stuff here, backfill is critical. So let's keep going and see what is critical, what isn't. All right, so let's just back this up here. Or advance it. So your roof, for some reason, isn't a critical task if there's a little bit of delay there, and it's probably because there's no. I have messed up. I'll come back to this in a minute. I've messed up. There's just no link here. Do you see a roof just sort of sits there? So I probably did something wrong. I'll go back and see if I can fix it. We've got another one sitting here, which is insulation. I'll have to fix that one. Holy smokes! I got another one here. You can see how useful this could be, right? You could sit around and play with it until you're to the drywall and taping. All right, so you see that a lot of the tasks as we get going are critical, right? So let me go back now into this and see if I can fix at least a couple of them. All right, see if I can fix this up. All right, so is landscaping a critical task? Maybe it is, but you see how landscaping is not a predecessor anywhere else? So let's put in that you will not do your pre-delivery inspection until landscaping is done, which makes sense. All right, so that's going to change things. And here's another one that was hanging fire. This is the roof. There's no, so close in the building, electrical. So I would say that this one here, the electrical, you wouldn't do that if water could get in the building, right? You don't want to ruin your electrical before it's actually done. So let's make the roof a predecessor here. All right, so now we've got it connected. So was there one, I think there was one other that was kind of hanging there. It's like a hanging chad. Here's another one. Insulation. So you would not do the insulation until, see, this is kind of cool. This is in the wrong place. So let's go and insert a new task, and then let's move this guy down here, right? All right, and we can get rid of that one because it's a null task. Let's delete that. All right, so you would not actually do your insulation until your building inspection is done. And 14, what's 14? No, that's 14. What's 13? Well, that makes sense. Okay, so that's good. And you will not actually do your, now we're good. Now you will not do your drywall, tape, and sanding until the insulation is in the walls. Well, that makes perfect sense. Okay, I'm going great now. So now let's go back and look at this, see if we can maybe make some more sense of it. So I'll move this over here. We'll go back to the beginning. All right, so now we've got probably something that makes a little bit more sense. Again, your choosing a builder is not critical. And just bear with me as we scroll. Advance the project. And let's see, secure financing is a critical task. Do I have another hanging chad here? Getting your building permit is, for some reason, holy smokes. See, I have another hanging chad here. I'm not prepared to accept that. So, we could do the excavation before we get our building permit. You might actually get away with footings and foundation and backfill before building permit, probably not, but you certainly aren't going to frame the house. So let's let's say you're a little bit adventurous and you're willing to do some work before you have your building permit, but obviously not a lot. So number 6, right? So I'm going to put 6 in here, and that's going to change things. So you don't, in this model, you have put your footings and foundation in, your excavated footings and foundation, and you've done backfill, and that's it. But don't do any more. Certainly don't do any more to the house until you have your building permit. Okay, so I'm going to go back and just see where we're at. Okay, so here we are. We still have non-critical, choose a builder. We do have select your design. That's still on the critical path. Now let's see what has happened. Okay, so notice how the excavation, footing, and foundation, and probably the next one too, exactly, which is backfill, is not a critical task, and nor is landscaping. So we have lots of slack time in those tasks. All right, that's good. But now we start to get into the critical things. Framing of the home, pretty much all of the construction, and we have a few now that are still not critical. So the insulation, for some reason, is not a critical task, and drywall and sanding. So if there's a little bit of delay there, it's not going to affect your project. All right. So you're going to get finished. Holy smokes! Now with all these adjustments, you're not going to be finished until next August. Again, you're all going to be saying, well, that's ridiculous. I could build a home much faster than that. But I'm telling you, I've done, I don't know, about 2,000 homes in my career. And they all take time, and more time than you ever expected. So this is not unrealistic. But like I said, you could come in here and you could play with it. We did a little bit of sensitivity on select your design if you were a little bit faster. And some other things here you could play with if you don't like that. Maybe get a building permit. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens if it does change on the right. So I'm going to say you're in a smaller town and they're going to give it to you in half the time, 30 days instead of 60. I'm going to hit enter. Well, so you are able to deliver the building quicker if your city is helping you out. So a little bit quicker. You're in about a month earlier in July. Okay, so that is a typical critical path. And this doesn't matter whether it could be a small retail plaza, it could be a mini storage business you're building, it could be a renovation, you're just putting a basement apartment in. And I'm sure you have figured it out yourself. It could be just you're in charge of a project. Maybe you're delivering a piece of software, a piece of technology, some code, and you have 3 or 4 or 8 or 9 people working for you. You can use this software to do all kinds of projects, not just construction projects, but technology projects or pretty much anything else. It's amazing software, and it's pretty expensive today. I think Microsoft, you can rent it. You can get like a license for it, so it might be $15 or $20 a month. I think Google has some equivalent software, might be $20 a month. And some of my clients who are bigger builders, they actually use this thing called Builder Trend. And I'm not here to sell you any software because this is expensive. Like this is a few $100s a month. But I am going to play this 2-minute video for you just to give you an idea. Because just so you know, I have been saying for a long time, and this is just my software reconfiguring, and I don't need any reconfiguring. So I apologize for this showing up on your screen. See if I can get rid of it. Oh my gosh, there we go. So I have been saying for a long time that critical path software is in fact the key to making our building industry more efficient and effective. All right. So that we are matching our ability to deliver projects with the expectations. So if you tell a client it's going to take a year to do this, in fact, a little bit more than a year, it's going to take 14 or 15 months to do it, and they don't believe you, if you're a builder, you can show them the schedule and say, okay, what can we do faster? And then you can work together in a collegial way. If you tell somebody it's going to, by the time they've done all of this, it's going to take 15 months to deliver the building, and you deliver it in 14 months, you are a hero. But if you say you could do it in 8 months and you deliver it in 15 months, I'm telling you, you're going to be involved in serious litigation. So don't do that, right? Sit down with your clients sit down with your contractors, go through this exercise, see what you can do together to make it a little bit more efficient. But here's the cool thing. I think a home builder today, or a builder today, a renovator today, should make this available to the client and all of his or her subtrades. So if you have subtrades working, electrician, a plumber, a drywaller, a framer, whatever, he or she, they should be able to go on and see when they are supposed to start, when they're supposed to finish. They should be able to say that they have finished. They should be able to get paid through this whole process through an automation. And your clients or customers can also see where you're at. Because one of the things that drives most foremen crazy is clients come on the site every day or every second day, say, when is this being delivered? When is this being done? If you have an online schedule, democratize it. Let everybody see the schedule, including lawyers who are going to actually complete the transaction for you. So everybody's kind of plugged in, and you don't have to drive yourself, your clients, your foreman insane with a million questions. All right. So I am going to run this, and again, I apologize. I'm not selling you Buildertrend, but clients of mine who use it, say it's fantastic. So here's the video.
Buildertrend is software for builders, remodelers, and specialty contractors. Because you don't sit at a desk all day, you need to work from the field, from your truck. Buildertrend connects everyone involved to the details of your project, all in one place that's easy to set up and simple to use. So whether you do a few projects a year or hundreds, you're in control. You can access and update schedules, shoot photos for a daily log, check off to-dos, even create change orders, all right from the field on your favorite phone or tablet. Team members in the office can share all that information in real time, and can also access customer selections, purchase orders, bids, and even manage prospects for that next job. Buildertrend helps your trade partners stay on schedule. If there's any changes to the project that affect them, they're notified along the way. Pretty cool, huh? And your customers want to know what's happening on the job site every day. Buildertrend can provide them with all that information, where the schedule is, what selections need to be made, progression photos, without any extra effort on your team's part. And that's what Buildertrend is for, bringing your whole building world together in one system so you can build more, build faster with less air, and improve your customers' experience so they refer you to more friends. Your job's hard. Buildertrend makes it easier, and that's why we continue to lead the industry and win awards. Hundreds of thousands of builders, trade partners, and homeowners think Buildertrend is pretty awesome, and we think you will too.
All right, enough of that. It was an ad, I guess, but anyway, it's updating again. All right, cancel this, cancel that. Okay, and cancel. So I really like this kind of stuff. I'm going to put this somewhere on Dropbox, and I'll put it on YouTube at some point, so you'll be able to find it and you'll be able to see what I did here. And you remember, I'm Prof Bruce. I do some. Can I go down here, please? I guess not. Am I able to scroll? Yeah, I do some coaching, real estate investment coaching. And you can always find me, bruce.firestone at century21.ca, and you can text me anytime, 613-762-8884. I ask people not to call me unless it's urgent, just because I get a lot of calls, or I would get a lot of calls. I have quite a few clients, so you can find me through email or texting, and I do have a personal website, brucemfirestone.com, and I have a pretty good blog if you're interested in this kind of stuff, profbruce.tumblr.com. So thank you so much for listening today, and I hope you learned something. All the best, and talk to you soon.